back with Charlie O'Hara this morning with some legal questions, or he's going to answer your legal questions. We do have our first caller on the line. You ready, Charlie?
I am.
Okay, go ahead, caller. What's your question?
Good morning, Charlie.
Good morning.
I have a question about a motion. How long do you have to file a motion for downward departure after sentencing?
Okay, well that's probably, most people probably don't know what a downward departure is. What happens is in federal court and in state court, not in city court, but in federal court and state court, we have a grid that determines what sentence someone is supposed to get. So what they do is they take the amount of time someone's been in trouble before and put that on a chart with the severity of the crime, and where those two things meet on that grid is a sentencing range. If you want to go outside that sentencing range, below it, then you need to file a downward departure. And what that means is you're asking the judge not to follow the sentencing guidelines, but give you a sentence different than what is recommended by the legislature. That happens quite frequently. In a sentencing, which is when after you would enter a plea or be found guilty, there's usually a 4 to 6 week delay, and then you're sentenced to whatever sentence you're going to get. Even if it's prison, you'd be sentenced then, and you can file a motion prior to the sentence to ask the judge to give you a lower sentence. That's what a downward departure would be. You can't file one after a sentence. So the question was, can you file one after the sentencing? And the answer to that would be no. It has to be filed before sentencing.
Okay, thank you, Charlie. Second caller, what's your question?
Yes, I was wanting to know about common law marriages in Kansas pertaining to legally and also income tax filing.
Well, I can answer the second question first. Income tax filing, you need to file your income tax when it's due. It's usually due April the 15th of every year. You have to make a certain amount to actually have to file, but once you make that amount, you need to file. You can get extensions, but you need to file and you need to comply with the IRS rules. As far as common law marriage goes, we do have common law marriage in Kansas. There's some specific restrictions on it. You have to be a person that can get married, either of age or not be married to someone else. And you have to live together. It's for some length of time. It can be very quick, but you have to intend to be married, and you have to hold yourself out to be married and walk around and say you're husband and wife. And if you do that, you're actually married in Kansas.
Okay. And so how does that maybe affect, does a common law marriage versus maybe what we would think of as a traditional marriage, does that affect the filing of an income tax and how you do that?
Well, I mean, if you're married, if you're married, you can file two ways. You can file married filing separately, or you can file married filing jointly.
And
it's better
the
to file jointly.
common law marriage.
If you're common law married, that would be an indication you were actually common law married because you filed together.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and we do have a third caller.
Okay.
Caller, go ahead. What's your question?
Yeah, my son is married, and they have 2 kids. Well, she abandoned him and the kids, and then that was in January, and then July, his wife had signed custody over to her mom, and she's got the girls now. Is that legal when she abandoned them?
Well, I'm not exactly sure what you're asking, but quite frankly, abandoning the children and then coming back in their lives, you're going to have to go to court and sort all that out. I mean, the court still is the boss about what happens between people. So you're going to have to go to court there. Somebody just signing the kids over on a piece of paper that isn't approved by the judge is evidence that they've abandoned the children, but it's not really legally sufficient. You have to go in front of a judge and make findings about children. I mean, the court's very interested in the well-being of children and make sure that they're in a good place. So when those kind of things happen, it's probably best for whoever's involved and wanting to get it straightened out to go to an attorney and try to get that matter straightened out.
Okay. So for further questions, definitely talk to an attorney, talk to your attorney, and of course Charlie will be back next week for more questions.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks, Charlie. We're going to take a short break now, but stay tuned. We'll be right back.